9:01. 9:03. That clock fast. I have a letter dated November 14th, 2025. Laura Johnson, Clerk of Council, New Orleans City Council, 1300 Perdido Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70112. Dear Madam Clerk, pursuant to my authority in Section 3-1075 of the Home Rule Charter of the City of New Orleans, there will be a special council meeting on the following dates. And I'm only going to read the date of this meeting only. Wednesday, November 19, 2025 at 9 a.m. These meetings will be limited to the discussion and consideration of matters relative to current financial condition of the city, including without limitation the status of the general fund and any changes to expected revenue or funding, and ordinance number 30,522, and any other matters that may properly come before the council. Please make the necessary arrangements to have these special meetings cablecast live on the Government Access Television channel and tape for requesting in the future. Sincerely, J.P. Morrell, President, New Orleans City Council. Roll call. Councilmember Morrell? Here. Councilmember Moreno? Here. Councilmember Green? Here. Councilmember Jeruso? Here. Councilmember King? Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Thomas. We have 6 members. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Proceed.
We have on the regular agenda resolution for consideration. The first matter, I will be reading the final version into the record. We have Resolution R-25-578 by Council Members Jeruso, Morrell, and Moreno. A resolution providing for the incurring of debt and the issuance of not exceeding $125 million of revenue notes, Series 2025 of the New Orleans, Louisiana, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of said notes, designating the date, denomination, and place of payment of said notes, providing for the payment thereof in principal and interest, creating and maintaining funds and accounts for the notes, authorizing the acceptance of an offer to purchase the note, and providing for other matters in connection thereof.
All right, I think that is self-explanatory, but I would like Mr. Akers to come forward because we do have a long resolution that we're passing today. And Jason, I don't think you need to go line by line. Yeah, please come sit at the table. I don't think you need to go line by line through the resolution, but I think it'd be good for everybody to know the high watermarks that are in this document and sort of the basic principles that are set forth.
Sure thing. Thank you very much, council members. I'm Jason Akers with Foley and Udell, your co-bond counsel. So the resolution is long. Apologies for that. However, a lot of this is absolutely necessary. Let me also note before I get started that with us in the audience, Ricardo Callender with PFM, one of your co-municipal advisors, and then Don Wilbon and Mickey Matthews, who are with JP Morgan Securities / Chase Bank, respectively, who have been working with us nonstop on this process. So you're correct. The resolution is quite long, but let me hit the high points for you. For starters, it authorizes the issuance of $125 million of revenue notes to be used for the purpose of paying ongoing operating expenses in the current and the next fiscal year of the city. As we all know, those are intended to pay for payroll. Those funds, when we close, which is anticipated to be on Friday of this week, the 21st, will actually be deposited in the Employee Emergency Payroll Fund that you created by ordinance and would be only paid out of that fund upon compliance with the terms of your ordinance that you adopted earlier this month. It sells those $125 million of revenue notes to JP Morgan Chase Bank at an interest rate of 3.5%. That is a fixed rate, provided that the city makes payments when they are due. And we have worked with Chase to agree to a payment schedule that would provide a repayment structure for them that would pay the notes off earlier than their designated June 30 final maturity date, using ad valorem and other tax collections and revenues as they come in from the city to the city, but would also provide that flexibility to ensure that the city is able to continue operating over the course of the coming months. They've been very flexible with us with that, and we do appreciate them. You can see in Section 3, the redemption provisions allow you to prepay this at any time on or after February 1, 2026, should funds come into the city from any source whatsoever that could be used for that purpose. That's a decision to be made by, I was going to say this council, but the next council, because it's February 1. But should funds come in, you are absolutely able to pay it off early after February 1. You also have mandatory payment obligations that are going to start on February 2, and you have to fund a reserve fund, which is a fund that's set aside to provide additional liquidity support for the city, just in case money is not available to make any payment when due. And then you have mandatory redemptions that begin, and you can see those starting in Section 3B, $15 million at the end of February through $20 million at the end of May, which would be, if all goes well, the final payment. I really want to compliment Romy and the finance department working with Ricardo and his team to nail down what a payment schedule would look like for you to, again, provide that support and flexibility as you go forward. There is a lot of boilerplate in this. I want to be clear. So we're going to skip over a good bit of that, but there's a form of the notes that's attached and authorizes the execution not just of the notes, but of the various documents, and those execution of the notes would be in facsimile. There's a clearinghouse known as DTC, Depository Trust Company. So this note is actually going to get sent to U.S. Bank, which is a paying agent, and nobody will ever actually have this physical note. It becomes essentially, I won't say digital currency because that isn't exactly correct, but it becomes an electronic asset pursuant to that digital trust company holding. Section 7 here is very important. It is the pledge and dedication of revenues, and it pledges all of the available revenues of the city, which are all of those at any point received during the term of the note, as long as they're not dedicated to another source. So, for example, the city gets money in that is by the terms of the tax call dedicated to Alderman Commission. The city can't use the Alderman Commission tax to repay these notes, but the city can use its general alimony tax to repay those notes. All of the money that can flow into the city's general fund is intended as general revenue, as available revenues, and that's the money that gets used to repay this note.
But Jason, can I just stop you for a second on that one? So just to make sure we're very clear about this. The city's going to start getting property taxes in at the beginning of the year. In fact, I think there's even a push to try and do that earlier. The money that is received for property taxes cannot go for other obligations. They're used solely for the purpose of paying back this note.
The money that now you're asking a very, very nuanced question. So let me give you something less than a nuanced answer.
All right, that's okay.
You have a number of different property taxes that are collected within the city.
Right.
A number of those are dedicated to purposes that don't flow through the general fund.
Correct.
Like, for example, that goes to the Board of Liquidation.
Sure.
You have one set of property tax, your general alimony tax is currently 12.23 mils,
Right.
that actually secures existing debt.
Right.
That money has to go pay that existing debt.
Got it.
After that, you are correct.
Got it. Yeah,
So-
that is the more nuanced.
Yeah.
In other words, we have to pay either the millage things that we collect money for and the things that secure our other debt first, and then the return on the note is next.
Yes.
Got it.
That's
Councilmember
correct.
Thomas?
Within the payment schedule.
Yeah, I had the same instinct to kind of stop him there to explain that, because those funds that go through general fund, that's different from dedicated millage or debt obligation.
Yes, sir.
The debt obligation, you can't take that away because that's already owed. There's already a stream of money to pay that. And I think the most important thing for tax recipient bodies are those who get their special millage. They're not in jeopardy of losing their fund. And I think we need to say that clearly, because when you talk about the obligation, especially to pay off this bond, many will think that they may be in jeopardy, especially if there's some trouble. Or unfortunately, something happens between now and when these debt payments have to start.
You are absolutely correct. The city does not have the ability to disregard dedications that have been put in place by the voters.
Yeah, so for all of the agencies out there, don't feel threatened by what the council and what the administration is doing here. Your dedicated funds are already dedicated to you.
Yes. I'll hit there are very few high points left. As I said, there's a lot of boilerplate here, but Section 10 is the application of proceeds I mentioned earlier. Section 11 is the award of the notes. That is awarding the notes to J.P. Morgan Chase and authorizing the execution of a note purchase agreement to actually make that award. In Section 13, we have a continuing disclosure obligation. This is actually exactly matching what the city already is required to do for its other obligations. This is not an additional obligation. It's just attaching those obligations to this loan as well. And then from that point forward, there are events of default should the city miss a payment or fail to keep a balance in a reserve fund as required. As we said, we've worked with Chase and with your finance department to ensure that the payments that are required are able to be made.
And Mr. Chairman, and
Councilmember Thomas.
yeah, thank you. Mother Nature, phenomenons, acts that can be controlled.
Yes.
What consideration do we have in here, especially now we're talking about dedicated payments and awards?
Yes.
What provisions are there to protect us? Unforeseen acts, terror attack, winter storm, spring, early hurricane. How are we protected there? Are we protected?
So that's not something that we're able to build into a resolution like this, and we understand that that's a concern. So we've mitigated that by a few different ways. One is providing a payment schedule that we believe is flexible, and for the storms that we're most worried about, this note has a final maturity of June 30. It actually is anticipated to be paid off by the end of May. That typically means we're prior to hurricane season, understanding, of course, things happen, and the best mitigation we have is a willing partner in Chase Bank. And I'm not going to put anything on them right now or make them say anything, but I just note that in a situation like this, having a lender that you have a relationship with is very
Yeah, I wanted to get that on the record, Mr. Chairman, because we know what the terror attack did, especially in the costs associated with. We understand better now what we don't get from special events. But because we have a willing partner or someone we can negotiate with, that doesn't preclude them if something abnormal happens or something catastrophic happens, then we have the ability to negotiate. Well, the next administration of the new council has the ability to negotiate on behalf of the people so that maybe we can have more flexibility with that schedule, correct?
That's exactly right.
All right, thank you.
The last thing I'll end with is, as you recall from the State Bond Commission meeting last week, at which they gave their approval to the issuance of the notes, they did so with various terms and conditions that were attached to the State Bond Commission approval. We have likewise attached those as Exhibit B to this resolution to put those into the record for you as well. So that's the resolution. That's 25 pages in a brief summary, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Jason, I have one last question. The funds will be available on Friday, and will they be available at 9 a.m. or 5 p.m.? Do we have any, and I'm not trying to put Chase on the spot, but I just want to make sure the public has sort of an answer to that. At some point Friday is the answer?
I'm looking for a thumbs up, but I believe we have an anticipated delivery date of Friday, and typically typically those transfers happen in the morning.
Okay, great. I guess I just want to say a couple other things to close out. First, again, this is a lengthy resolution, but it's also the byproduct of a lot of work. So I want to thank the current administration for their work and working with you. I want to thank you, Jason, and your team. Absolutely. I know I was getting drafts up till 9 o'clock last night, which I appreciate, the craftsmanship and the caring. Yes. I want to thank this council and Mayor-elect Moreno to make sure that we're moving forward. I also want to thank PFM and Chase, too. I think, we got to make sure that we have good partners when we do these things. And I think Romy told me that Chase signed a letter of intent, like literally the day after we said it was needed or the day of. And that really speaks a lot about, I think, the long-term nature of the relationship between the city as well as the fact that they are and continue and want to be a good partner. And obviously, Jason also sounds like protected their business interests, but gave the city as favorable terms
Absolutely.
to pay back as possible. So it's very much appreciated. Do I need, Councilmember Green, I know you wanted to talk.
Just for a second.
Guys, just to be very clear, this is just
I know we're
weighing
rushing.
in.
We're rushing.
We have several things
Yes.
going on simultaneously.
30
I know
seconds.
everyone wants to do their little points, but just be cognizant. Thank you.
30 seconds. I don't even need 2 minutes. I also want to include Councilman Jeruso with the things that is going on right now, this chair of the budget and the members of our council who represented us well. I think Councilman Jeruso's question relative to when these funds were going to be available shows his commitment and this council's commitment to the personnel in our city who are doing the job. So I'm pleased that we've been able to, using our bond rating, to get a 3.5% interest rate, which is good, and that we also have shown our commitment to the personnel of our city. So thank you.
Yes.
Let me do two other things because there is another issue we're facing right now. Number one is we will be deferring items 2 and 3. My understanding is we may defer 4 or 5, and if that is the, well, we're trying to figure something else out here. Why don't we do this? Mr. Burnside has a comment card, so let's get to him while we're figuring out this other issue right now. Mr. Burnside?
Michael Eric Burnside, 2215 Felicity. I don't know Jason well enough to use his first name, but I don't know his last because I can't remember anything anymore, so I'll say thank you to Jason for his calm professionalism. I do want to bring 2 things into the public record, one of which is bank fees. I was discussing the situation with a friend who I respect and who gently mocked me at the idea that banks make money off interest. They make money off fees. And the more often you go to the bank, the more often they get to charge you fees. So it would be nice to know what the bank fee is on this. The other thing is that, do we have an idea when we're going to run out of money in 2026? Because obviously at some point we're going to go back to the Bond Commission and we're going to ask for another revenue anticipatory note, an RAN. And it would be sort of kind of nice to let people know now sort of when they need to be thinking about that action. Thank you very much for your time.
Councilmember, I got one online comment.
Yeah, please read the comment.
Yeah, this is from Gerald Lanassa. He says, for the New Orleans City Council to even consider taking on tens of millions in new debt before cutting real spending is sheer fiscal recklessness. Months of council denial and inaction have already weakened the city's financial foundation. The city council's refusal to attack real spending threatens our long-term stability and betrays the public trust.
All right, thank you. I just, again, want to say for the record very clearly that we're very aware that the legislative auditor has prescriptions and that those need to be followed and that we need to make sure that those are being done timely. So, barring any other comment, what we're going to do is move forward on the resolution right now. We will not move forward on any other item today. And then if we need to pick up items 4 and 5 tomorrow at the council meeting for some reason, we can do that.
And with that, Madam Clerk, number 6 is withdrawn. Since 4 and 5 are not moving today, number 6 is no longer necessary at all.
Okay, so 2 and 3 are deferred to 11:25. 4 and 5 is deferred to 11:20, and 6 is withdrawn.
You got it. All right, members, with that, I will move to adopt resolution R25578. Let's
do voice vote.
Yes, second by Councilmember Morrell. Is that a second? Yes. All in favor, please affirm by saying aye.
Aye.
Hearing no no's, the vote is unanimously carried 6-0.
All right, with that, do we have any first reads, Madam Clerk? Okay. Then at that point, Councilman Green moves we adjourn. Any second? Oh, you have any comments, Mr. Burnside? He has one comment on the one we did earlier. So, all right. Yep. All right. Councilman Jeruso seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
6 yeas, no nays. We're adjourned.
All right.